Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome to my channel. Today's video is a two-part series, and I have my fiance here, Chris.
It's my first appearance here, I guess. Oh, how's my hair?
You look great. In today's video, we are going to talk about our dating story, how we got together, and then the next part will be our engagement story and, you know, how he decided.
The next part?
Yeah.
Oh man, I thought there'd be a break.
Okay, we're just gonna talk about how we got together today.
Okay.
So stay tuned and enjoy. Please like, comment, subscribe, and comment down below.
All right. So we're gonna start at the beginning. We're gonna work our way through one event at a time.
This is try number 2 because I like to jump ahead in stories and I ruin it. So we'll start all over again.
This girl, I swear, we could be sitting in the movie theater, first time, movie just came out, but she's already read the plot. She'll be whispering in my ear like, oh, I think this is the part where he dies. I'm like, babe, I haven't, oh. So anyway.
Okay, whatever. Okay, let's start
take 2, here we go. All right, so in the beginning, we were both going to the local community college, and Christina was studying creative writing, and I was studying mechanical engineering. So I would be in the library pretty much every day, and I'd sit at the back of the library, and you know, I was a little antisocial. I'm still not very social, which is why it's the first time I'm on camera. But so I'd sit in the back of the library, my back to the wall, and I'd just, you know, the whole room in front of me. And one day I see this girl walk in, and something about that girl, I just kind of like, my jaw dropped, and I was like, wow, there is something about that girl. She is so beautiful. And I kept telling myself, I was like, you know, someday I'm gonna meet that girl. Someday I'm gonna muster up the courage to go introduce myself to her. And it took a long time to get there, and there were some conveniently placed friends involved who helped me along.
You should say the names of the friends that helped you, or at least the friends that helped you. The nickname and then the actual.
I'll get there when the time comes. Right. So around the same time, this was our first year of college, so we were taking gen eds.
August of 2013.
August 2013?
Is when we started.
All right.
Yeah.
So around August 2013, and I was in a public speaking class with a good friend that I had met that year, and we used to hang out and talk every day. And one day he walks into class and he's looking all depressed, and I was like, what's going on, man? What's wrong? And he says, gee, somehow I gotta break up with my girlfriend today. And I was like, well, why? What's going on? And he said, well, she's such a sweet girl, you know, and she really deserves somebody who's gonna take care of her and love her. And I don't really feel that way anymore, you know. And she doesn't deserve somebody who's gonna pretend. So I was like, man, I'm so sorry. I don't really know what to say. I hope it all goes okay. And so fast forward a little bit that day, I'm back in the library, and I played this little game where if I tell myself I'm gonna do something, you know, I have to do it, I have to commit. And so I told myself, all right, if I see that girl in the library today, this is the day I'm gonna go introduce myself. It's gonna be today. And so a little while later, guess who walks into the library? This one over here. And so I'm looking at her, I'm like, oh man, now I gotta do it. And then I start thinking, I'm going through all these scenarios in my head, and I was thinking, wait, I can't. Hold on, what if this is the girl that my friend just broke up with? And I'm thinking, I know deep down, there's like probably 2,000 girls at this school. The chance that it's her is so small, there's no reason to even consider it. So fast forward a little bit further, I was out with my friend from public speaking, and we had 2 girlfriends in that class, and we went out bowling one night with them. And I go up to throw the ball, it's my turn, and I hear them kind of scheming behind me and whispering to themselves, and they're like, you know what, we gotta get Chris a girlfriend. Yeah, we gotta find Chris a girl. And I turned around and I was like, no, hold up, no, I don't do arranged things, you know. And so my friend says to me, he says, well, hold on, I know this really sweet girl, you know, and but how would you feel about dating a friend's ex? And I said, well, I don't know. I guess if we both liked each other and I had my friend's blessing, you know, why not? So he was like, oh, cool, here, let me show you a picture of her. And so he pulls out his phone, and lo and behold, the girl he showed me was my very own Christina. And I was so shell-shocked, so surprised. I didn't even know what to say. I was dumbfounded. I'm pretty sure I didn't say anything. I just looked at the picture.
Because I was the ex he was telling you about.
I didn't say anything to him about it. I didn't let him know that I had been eyeing his ex-girlfriend from across the library, deciding to talk to her. And he was none the wiser, and we kind of left that night. And but I had heard from him that it wasn't all that pleasant of a breakup, and it didn't go down very well for either party. So I didn't want to ask him to introduce us. I figured maybe some other time, but I was so dumbfounded that excuse I made for myself to not talk to her that day
wound up actually being good for you.
Man, it's crazy. So we fast forward a little further. Maybe, I think we're in the second semester now, so it's probably the spring of 2014 when we finally met.
Yeah, going towards there, yeah.
And I ran into a friend who I hadn't seen since high school in quite a few years. We were actually really good friends back in sometime around 9th grade. And I'm walking through the English wing of the school, where obviously I didn't spend much time there, but I was walking through and I see this friend, and he goes, whoa, hold up, Chris, hang on. There's somebody I need to introduce you to. And so he gets all excited, and he grabs my arm and he pulls me down the hallway, and he's got to introduce me to this friend, and it turns out that friend is Christina. So, again, I'm not all that social. I was pretty shy, and having just run into this mystery girl whose name I still didn't even know again, but I just kind of said, hey, how you doing? And that was it. That's how we met the first time.
Well, to go back and backtrack a little bit, before we even met, he had a lot of help from one of his best friends. What was the nickname you were calling him again?
Who, Nella?
Nella.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
His actual name's Alan, but as a joke, we're calling him Nella in this video. So he had, clearly I did not see any of this, but I had a set spot when we were at school. It was kind of near the main cafeteria of the school, but it was also near all of my classes and everything. I would hang out on the bench outside the cafeteria every day. I always had a group of friends around me, which made it harder for you to talk to me because you always thought...
The girls, man, they always travel in packs, I swear.
But I did not know this, nor did I see it. Clearly I'm oblivious, but I would sit on that bench every day because at the time I didn't drive, so I would be waiting for rides. Nella would take... It's so weird to call him.
We were just walking by, kind of in a nearby place, and he'd say, man, if you don't go in there and talk to that girl, I am going to go talk to her for you. And I was like, whoa, no, you can't, no, you can't do that. And so we just kind of avoid the area entirely, but he was pushing me along, trying to give me some positive reinforcement, and I was just too nervous.
You also told me that you guys would sometimes sit at the other end of the bench. And
we'd walk by every once in a while, and just
clearly I didn't.
See if you were still hanging around.
Yeah, clearly I didn't see that. Maybe I was with Danielle at the time. That's probably why I didn't notice. So to move back, the friend that actually wound up introducing us the first time is this kid named Elijah. He had a thing for me at the time, and that's probably why he introduced you and I together. So we had a lot of help along the way.
Okay. All right. Well, from then on, after she realized I exist, I guess, I would walk by the bench every so often, and she'd be sitting there, and I'd say, just, hey, Christina, how you doing? And keep going on. I was still too nervous to start a conversation or anything, but eventually, I walked by one day, and she had this look on her face. I guess it's just her resting face, and she looked really upset to me. So I stopped that day, and I sat down next to her, and I said, hey, are you doing okay? And she was like, yeah, I'm fine. Why? I was just like, well, you looked real sad. So I thought I'd ask.
I thought I said something like, I think that's just my face, like I'm fine, as a joke, because I don't realize it a lot of times, but I'm not the biggest smiler. I always come across as angry even when I'm not, so I guess people always think I'm upset. But after that, we also had a mutual friend that was also an engineer in Chris's program. His name is Kevin. I knew him because I did the Student Ambassadors Club at school with my best friend Danielle. So we kind of all started hanging out once Chris and I started talking. We would kind of like, when we would bump into each other, we would all kind of hang out from time to time.
In the past, maybe a month or 2 or 3,
Yeah, maybe
I don't know,
like
she
a
kept me
month
waiting
time.
for at least a couple decades, but anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So I used to hang out in the library so often, I became reacquainted with this old family friend named Bill. He was one of the librarians, and I used to just kind of stick around and chat with him for a while in the mornings or the evenings or whenever.
Yeah, he was a nice guy.
And I was talking to Bill one day, and I could hear people passing by in the hallway right behind me, and I was thinking about this girl, and sometimes she would walk by that area, and I was thinking to myself, I played another game. I said, well, if she's the next person who walks by, then I'm going to go out, and I'm going to ask her out today. And so I'm just kind of, idly talking to Bill, and somebody walks by, and I almost didn't look. I'm like, no, there's no way it's going to be her anyway. I'm just, playing these stupid games in my head again. And just as the footsteps are about to end and they're walking by, I kind of spun around a little bit, and I caught a glimpse of the back of her head, and I was like, oh no. And I looked at Bill and I said, oh man, Bill, I'm really sorry, I gotta go right now. And I ran out and I said, hold up, wait for me. And Christina waited up in the hallway, and I said farewell to Bill, and I caught up to her. And I said, shy as I was probably, bright red as a cherry tomato.
In your eyes, I didn't see a difference. But.
I said, hey Christina, what would you say if I asked you out on a date? And she just kind of laughed it off, giggled a little bit, and she said,
I said,
how
maybe.
does this not surprise me?
Yeah, and then I kind of gave you...
And I was a little bit helpless at that point, and I'm like, well, yes, no, get out of my life, you loser, they're all possibilities, which give you bonus points if you can name that movie. And she said, maybe.
Yeah, I said basically that I would think about it, but I was so in shock because I never had an idea or an inkling that you liked me at all, so I was kind of
And yet you said you weren't surprised. Kind of ironic, isn't it?
Weird, because I was actually very surprised, but sometimes when I'm surprised I don't realize what I'm saying. So that was the first time he asked me out, and then I guess we'll fast forward back to the night that we went to go see the show.
Me and my old car.
When I think the first time we all kind of hung out as a group was when we went to go see a show on campus, and it was me, you, Kevin, Danielle, and Deirdre, and it was this comedy show. You remember that, right? We went to go
By Chris something, I think.
Yeah, it was Duran or something.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And we went to this multiple times, but the first time we saw it was we had our little group. And I love telling this story because it's funny when I think about it now. But after the show, we were all kind of hanging out. I think Kevin kind of had left. It was me, Chris, Danielle, and Deirdre. And Chris, I guess, was trying to impress me at the time. What was the kind of car you had?
I had an old Saturn sports coupe too. It was ancient at the time. I think it was like a 93 or a 94. And it had these really cool flip-up head. At least I thought they're cool. I'm a guy. I'm kind of lame that way, but so she's with Deirdre, one of her best friends, who's like super
bubbly.
Spontaneous and bubbly.
And happy, and Danielle was there as well.
All I did, I got in my car and I started up and I turned the headlights on.
This was after you asked me out the second time, by the way.
The second time?
You asked me out on a date again.
Was it that night?
That was that night.
Man,
you pulled me aside and you said, so how about that date? And once again, I didn't have an answer.
After a while, I just kind of gave up asking. I said, look, I'm not going to keep asking forever, but if you ever decide that you want to and take a chance, then, give me some kind of hint. Let me know.
Yeah, this was about the second time. I think maybe you asked me one more time and then you said that, or you said that after I didn't give you a straight answer again. But you went to go start.
So indecisive.
You went to go start your car again, and I guess you flipped.
I turned the headlights on, and Deirdre saw them flip up, and she was like, "Oh!"
She got all
so
excited. She freaked out, and I think you were trying to impress me, not her, but you impressed her instead. And she was like, "Can we go for a joyride? Can we go for a joyride?" And you were like all game for it. So you had Danielle in the front seat, because Danielle and Deirdre are very tall. Like, I'm not tall at all. So Danielle sat in the front, and then I was in the back seat with Deirdre. Deirdre and I were like taking selfies and being silly and everything. And we were just kind of taking a drive down the road and going back, or he was. And Deirdre goes, "So, Chris, do you have a girlfriend?" And I think you said something like, "No, I'm not in a relationship. No, I'm not with anyone." So after that, it got kind of awkward because like I clearly didn't say anything because I was so uncomfortable in the backseat. She had no idea like that.
Maybe you feel a little guilty or something too.
Yeah, she had no idea that you had even like said anything to me or had any interest in me. So Danielle, you know, because she's very good at, you know, playing off those awkward silences because she's loud, she changed the subject. But we get out of the car and your window was up at the time, and she goes, Deirdre goes to me, she goes, "It's so weird, he's not in a relationship, like he's such a nice guy." And I said, "It's so funny you say that because he just asked me out before he got in the car." And she just like, her eyes popped open. She's like, "What did you say to him?" And I was like, "I didn't say anything." And she slapped me really hard in the arm. She goes, "You're going out with him." Came to you, she's like, "You're going out with him, you're going on a date." And then Danielle was like, "Oh, come on, he really likes you, just give him a shot, just go on a date with him, like it might be good for you." And that's all of the influence I had. I had Deirdre influencing the decision, I had Danielle trying to encourage me. I went home and I told my mom about the incident, and her and my older sister were like, "Oh, come on, just go out with him. You don't know what's gonna happen. Something good might happen. Go out with him." Later
on, I found out one of my friends texted her and said, "Hey man, he really, really likes you. Just give him a shot."
The thing was like 4 a.m. He was like, "So, you should really message Chris because he really likes you. You should give him a shot." And it was like 4 in the morning. I was like, who are you? He goes, I'm Chris's friend. And he was like, "Just do me a favor." He goes, "Just message hi to Chris." And so I did. I went to you and said, "Hey, what's up?" And then his friend went and like...
Low-key made my whole night.
Yeah. His friend like screenshotted Chris's reaction to him because he was kind of messaging between both of us. And he goes, "See, look at how happy you're making him." And it's a picture, I don't know, like it's this emoji, like kind of like shaking and kind of freaking out. And then underneath it was like, "What do I do? She's actually talking to me." So yeah, we had a lot of influence and a lot of help on both sides. And it took quite a few times because we went out a couple of times after that. Took a lot of me.
Not on dates, but we went out with friends.
We went out with friends and like my cousin and everything, and we had to talk about it and everything. And then that's when it came to that talk where you were like, "Okay, well, let me know, you know, if you want, you know, give me a sign if you want to be with me or not." That's what it fell down to.
That was at the diner after
that was
the
at
bridges.
That was after the diner, after I had my little breakdown because I was so scared to be in another relationship. And December 5th, 2014 rolled around, and I remembered this date because I was starting to develop feelings slowly. This was like a month later or so. I was starting to develop some feelings, but I didn't really know where they were, and I just wanted to be sure about them. Even at the diner, I dropped like a hint at him and he didn't get it. Like I literally crawled under the table to sit next to him.
Hey man, I was designing a bridge at the time, okay? I was pretty busy.
This boy still didn't get it when I crawled under the table to be next to him, okay? So I invited him because I was a really big choir nerd. Like I loved singing. So for me, my best friends Deirdre, Danielle, and I were all in the same choir. And I invited Chris and our friend Kevin to actually come to the concert. And I really wanted you to be there, like really bad. I was nervous as hell because I knew I was gonna tell you or show you in some kind of way that I really wanted to be with you, but I was terrified. I did not know when that, because I'm always on the front riser, like I'm always on the bottom, so everyone can see me. I did not know this boy was going to be in the second row of the entire auditorium staring at me the entire time. I was terrified, and I saw his eyes just watching me, because I would go back and forth on different sides of the risers when I was performing. His eyes just kept watching me. I don't know if you noticed, but I looked away the whole time because you were making.
Yeah, you did make eye contact.
I was so nervous. I was so shy. I was like, okay, that's a good indication that he really likes me, because he showed up to this concert, which you were not interested in at all. He did it because I wanted him to be there. I said, so this is a good sign. I said, so I guess I should really tell him that I like him. So I had my friend Karen, who's an older friend of mine. I've known her since I was like 12 years old. She met you for the first time. You also met my parents that night. Like, yeah. You dressed up and met my parents that night.
Unintentionally. I knew they were gonna be there. Yeah,
and so you dressed like pretty nicely to meet them, so you gave off a good impression. And we were standing outside the main entrance door. We were outside at the time. It was me, you, and Karen. And I got so excited, I hugged you and gave you a kiss and on the cheek, and I was like, thank you so much for coming. And you were like, so is that a yes? And I said, and I shook my head, yeah. So that was kind of like his in. He knew that I liked him. He knew that things were gonna happen from that point on. Karen was there for that when we started. And I went to the car, because obviously I went with my parents, and they were like, he seems like a nice guy. He goes, he looks like a normal guy. Like, you should go out with him. My dad, those were my dad's words. My dad does not have a way with words when it comes to stuff like that. But they basically encouraged me to go out with you. Originally, it was kind of cute. We were kind of in that like adorable stage where we didn't really want to make things official because finals were coming up. It was near the end of the semester. At least I didn't. We didn't really kiss on the lips or anything for the first like 10 days of our relationship. We didn't really make it official. We were kind of talking and kind of getting to know each other.
I think Christina wanted to keep the real relationship as kind of a reward for focusing those last few weeks and really getting through
finals and yeah, and like we would kiss on the cheek and stuff, but we wouldn't like, because for me it always sounds really corny, but for me like a relationship is sealed with a kiss on the lips, because to me that's like really intimate. So we would kiss on the cheek and everything, and initially we were gonna wait until the day we were both done with finals, which was the 17th of December 2014. And this one night we decided, you messaged me when I was at home, it was the 15th, and he was like, hey, do you feel like coming out with my mom and family? And I was like, I guess so, why not? Like, I was nervous as heck when you told me that, but I was like, why not? So we went to this hibachi restaurant that his family loves, and the first thing his mom says to me is, my future daughter-in-law, and she wrapped her arms around me and hugged me, and then he introduced me to everybody. I think it was your mom, your brother, and your sister. I don't think it was anyone else. I had met your dad. I had met your dad kind of like,
yeah, the first night we kind of went out.
The first night we kind of went out, we went out to like another hibachi.
Our first unofficial date was, I took her to the hibachi place and we went for a drive around the local reservoir around Sunset. It was beautiful, but
this was before like things kind of became official and everything. Like, I had met his dad kind of in passing, but the night that we got together, I actually met his brother and his mom and his sister. And his sister was really big on like making sure that I was good enough.
Yeah, she wanted to vet everybody who came into our family.
Yeah, so she was really like on us the whole time. Like, she would follow us around. She was very protective of him. After dinner, I mean, dinner went well, and then we went back to his mom's house and we were kind of hanging out. We decided to watch the most romantic movie in the world. He had like a little bunk bed at the time. He was on the top bunk of a bunk bed, and we decided to watch Shrek. That was our romantic movie on the night that.
It was funny. You like Shrek, I like Shrek. You know, it was a good.
It was a nice icebreaker.
It was a good icebreaker. There we go.
Yeah, and then your sister decided, oh, I'm gonna interrogate her further.
I like Shrek. Let me just come on up and watch the movie with you.
And she sat right on the side next to us the whole time. Man. And yeah, and this was the 15th. I'm gonna continue saying we were supposed to make it official 2 days later after finals were over, but we were cuddling, we were laying down, and I was kissing him on the cheek, and then I started kissing him on the neck and on the cheek more, and he was like, you know, you were getting all awkward, and she was like, you're making this really hard.
Like, you're about to break the rules. You're dangerously close right now.
And I said, well, I really don't care. I really want to kiss you. And then you're like, but you said you want to wait. I said, well, I don't want to wait anymore. I really want you to kiss me. And eventually I kissed him so much
This
on the...
is mushy. I don't want to be a part of this.
Eventually I kissed him so much on the cheek that he finally gave in, and he kissed me on the lips for the first time. And that kind of started our relationship. So instead of starting it on the 17th like we had planned, I kind of manipulated him into going out with me 2 days later. And so we officially got together while watching Shrek on his little twin bed with his sister there on December 15, 2014. It's a really interesting one, how we had so many people trying, like my ex tried to get you and I together.
It's kind of unbelievable how the stories all came together.
We had
all the little intertwining details.
They
seem like
yeah.
straight out of a movie that they could never happen in real life, but
Yeah, everything just kind of played out really nicely, and you know, here we are over 5 years later, and you know, we're still together. Yeah, but the next part's going to be our engagement story. So if you guys like this story, please feel free to subscribe and continue following along with this journey, with this wedding series. Please comment below what you guys think of our story. And
there it is.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.